What would it do for you and your family to make 6 figures in the next 12 months? How would that make you feel? But some remain vulnerable.
So what do they learn in the training?
There is a solution. Self-reliance is a core value of being an American. Once you learn how to make 6 figures listing luxury homes, your world changes. No boss, your own schedule. It's empowering.
12 sessions, 6 figures, 12 months. What would it do for you in your life? How would that make you feel?
Once you learn how to thrive on your own, life becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah!
Welcome back to the training, everybody. This is Scott Farrell, founder of Thrive California, and this is week 5 listings, including the listing presentation. But before we start into the content for today, let's review our action list from last week. Call your FSBO and expireds. Call all active sellers with an update. Should have created your pre-list documents by now. Write personal notes to each seller. You should be increasing your calls, notes, and drop-bys each afternoon and in your time block mornings, and you should have created a performance guarantee. So today we're going to discuss listings, including the listing presentation, keys to a great listing presentation performance, some insights and components, closing dialogues, and then we're going to review an actual presentation in a separate video. You may have heard me speak about doing a listing presentation without actually doing the presentation. What I mean by that is a conversation you have with your home seller clients prior to opening up your laptop and stepping them through the actual listing presentation. We do that by probing for motivation and eliciting their values. So prior to opening your laptop, you want to have a quick conversation to elicit their values or motivation, as we've discussed in the sales skills number 1 training. And those 3 steps are finding out what's important about moving, what it will do for them, and how it will make them feel. And not to get into too much detail in NLP, or what we term neuro-linguistic programming, but you can start to anchor those feelings to yourself. So if you discover their motivation or how it will make them feel to move, you then could use a tap on their shoulder every time you have that discussion. That's what we would term as an anchor. I recommend giving your prospective home sellers a quick overview of your listing presentation, summarizing the major topics that you're going to be discussing today. It gives them a sense of reference. You want to use a passionate introduction. I recommend you go over the top in the beginning. It's better to be a little bit more enthusiastic than your normal self than to bore them. So here's some dialogue that can help you do that. So here's some insights to help you with your mindset to be a great presenter. Number 1, your energy needs to be almost over the top. You want to express a great deal of confidence, even when you're a beginner. You do the listing presentation like you really want to sell this home for top dollar. You have to feel it. Your mindset is if they don't sign with you tonight, you're devastated, because the decision they're making could cost them thousands of dollars, and you're the one that will get them top dollar. There's no one that will work harder. This is your mindset going into every listing presentation. This is what we call set the stage dialogue. The agent that you choose or not choose will mean tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket. It helps your client pay attention. The independent contractor dialogue is used to combat competitive listing agents that sell their brokerage brand as they're told to do in many of the training programs by other agencies and brokerage firms. That's a weak position, because let's say, for example, an agent is pitching how great Coldwell Banker is, and the home seller is interviewing 2 Coldwell Banker agents. You want to combat that right away by telling them that you're an independent contractor, and you will be surprised how many home sellers don't understand that real estate agents really work for themselves. This will help you be competitive in that way. This is a great line, a great piece of dialogue, because it plays right into the hands of the seller. This is typically what they want out of an agent. What I do better than any other agent is maximize exposure of your property. That's really what they want. They want you as their listing agent to create competition among buyers. Here are some effective closing dialogues for you to use. Adam and Monica, this is about who you have the most confidence in. The fact that you would say that means that you are confident. It's a very powerful statement. And then I want you to move closer to them, point to yourself, and express to them that you really want to sell their home. You have to be emotional at this point, and then you roll right into a close by handing them the pen and the listening agreement. And you know what ABC stands for, right? Marketing syndication company is a concept of using an outside third party that will syndicate your listings all over the world. We will provide you with 2 or 3 companies that do this. These are just huge advantages to have in your listing presentation, because as you will see once we dive into a sample listing presentation, you could never do this syndication yourself. So I wanted to introduce this concept to you, and we will be able to refer actual third-party vendors to you when you need them.
So let's take a look at the components of a listing presentation. This is by no means a complete list, but it will give you a great foundation from which to build your own custom listing presentation. Number 1, eliciting values. That's not actually part of the PowerPoint presentation as we've discussed. That's dialogue that you want to become skilled at over time. That precedes opening up the PowerPoint. Number 2 is the first section of a possible listing presentation itself, aggressive marketing and experience representation. We'll break down each of these components in detail in a sample listing presentation that's coming up next. Another possible component is who we are, or who you are, in other words, your bio, your background, samples of your work, the performance guarantee if you're using that, understanding brand marketing, because this will set up our marketing campaign for them. USP, when we use the term USP, we're talking about a unique selling proposition that differentiates you from your competition. Staging is always a good thing to talk about in listing presentation. You need to have skills at coaching your clients on staging at home. And then we get into the actual marketing campaign itself, which has many subcomponents and concludes with global syndication, convincing your sellers you have expertise at syndicating your listing all over the world. So that's an exciting component. We're going to show you that it's way easier to get that done than you think. Once all of that is established in the presentation, then we talk about pricing. So we leave pricing at the end of the discussion, even though your clients maybe in the first phone call will say, what do you think my house is worth? Very common question. You segue to the listing presentation. You go to a pre-list or preview appointment. They talk about, oh, now that you've seen my house, what do you think we should list it for? Well, we'll talk about that when we review the market data. You always want to push, if possible, the pricing discussion to the end of the listing presentation. Why is that? Because you want to establish yourself first as the expert before you negotiate pricing. Pricing a listing is a negotiation that you need to be skilled at. But once you establish yourself as the expert, sometimes the roadblocks of pricing it the way you think it should be priced will go away. And then we obviously close on the listing presentation on the agreement. So those are the basic components. And this could take up 70, 80 PowerPoint slides in a big luxury home listing presentation.
This is your action list. Number 1, open the sample listing presentation PowerPoint training video and study it. Download that PowerPoint listing presentation to your computer and start editing it to make it your own. Once you have that done, start practicing live presentations with a practice partner. Next week is the Seller Whisperer. We will discuss motivation, setting the expectations, how to manage your listings, some insights, how and why you get paid, how to avoid the listing death spiral, how to create a showing log and a feedback system, and some great seller dialogues to control pricing. See you next week.